familiar with the myth of Sisyphus? As a result of bad decisions Sisyphus had made, he was condemned to a lifetime of rolling a rock up a mountain only to have it roll back down once he reached the top. High school can also feel like being condemned to a lifetime of putting in effort only to realize that it never gets you anywhere. Pulling all-nighters to finish an essay that won't print because your printer will run out of ink after printing the first page, planning to study for your exam to just be scheduled to close at work the night before, getting the flu and having to miss the dissection in biology that won't be repeated, or getting ready to start that big assignment that's worth 10% of your final mark to be unable to find the assignment description and rubric anywhere. We've all been there and felt like high school was an eternal battle you were destined to lose. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It doesn't have to be. With a proper sleep schedule, good attendance, keeping up with homework, and managing your part-time job effectively, it is possible to be successful in high school, and before you know it, you'll be applying for college. I'm not a saint, and I don't really have the best track record when it comes to attendance, but it is still very important. When I was in grade 9, I skipped third period many times to have lunch with my best friend who had a different lunch period. I coincidentally had a lot of appointments during third period. I missed even more class thanks to my ability to catch any bug that's going around. This amounted to a lot of absences. Over time, I realized I understood the material best when I was actually in class when it was taught. I began trying to avoid missing class as much as possible. Of course, if you've heard of Murphy's Law, you'll know that's not how that worked out. Eventually, I got sick and missed a week of school. I spent the rest of the semester trying to understand what I missed. It was a nightmare. Things come up and missing class is sometimes unavoidable, but the less class you can miss, the better. Yes, that means you don't get to miss first period to sleep in. Staying up late a couple of times is okay, but you should always aim to be in bed as early as possible. I try to be in bed by 10:30. If I start going to bed too much later, I will literally sleep in class. I wish I was exaggerating. When I had taken co-op, my placement was in the morning, then I'd have class in the afternoon. In order to get enough hours, I had to be at my placement by 7:30 a.m. This meant getting up at 6 a.m. I had started a new job and really wanted to make a good impression. I was working 4+ shifts a week, at least 2 of which would be closing shifts. We'd finish closing and I'd get home between 12:30 and 1 a.m. and in bed between 1 and 1:30 a.m. Sleeping so little during the week, without catching up during the weekend thanks to my 8 a.m. open shifts, left me so sleep deprived that at worst I physically could not get out of bed, and at best I'd sleep through my classes even after at least 2 coffees and an energy drink. Guess who passed advanced functions with a 56% that semester? Yeah, me. Don't make the same mistake I did. Make high school as painless as possible and just sleep. Working too much while in school is an issue. I kind of already said why, but I'd like to add a couple things. At that time, I would look at my schedule and think, I have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday off. Saturday I'm off at 7, Sunday I'm off at 4, and Tuesday I don't start till 7. That's plenty of time to do homework. I didn't realize that all that lost sleep had to be made up for at some point. Just like that, all my free time evaporated as I constantly found myself sleeping. I'd pass out as soon as I got home, only getting up to work or shower before going back to sleep. With all this time sleeping and working, I bet you're wondering when I did homework. Excellent question. I didn't. Eventually, I ended up working it out with management that I only worked 2 shifts a week during the school year, giving me enough time to keep up with sleep and homework. I learned to book off exam week as far in advance as possible so that I can study and sleep properly and have enough energy without the help of Red Bull. Having free time is definitely worth sacrificing the extra money, I promise. I made the mistake, so you don't have to. Studying for a test or even the final exam pretty much begins on the first day. That sounds insane. Bear with me, you'll understand in a second. From the beginning, do not lose any sheets or throw anything away unless you're 1,000,000% sure you do not need it. Even then, proceed with caution. Everything is important. Even that Kraft Dinner stained sheet of goose paper you used to solve an equation during a quick meal. You should be checking in with yourself to make sure you understand what you're learning and ask for help when you don't. Take my word for it, the night before a test is the worst time to try to teach yourself all the material you didn't understand and were putting off asking your teacher about. Life happens and keeping up with homework can be hard. Use your lunches to make up for missed homework time. When a test inevitably comes up, you'll be ready. I like to make flashcards a few days in advance and quiz myself every chance I get. Let's say you followed every single tip and still would have liked to do better. Don't fret. No one is good at everything, but everyone is good at something. Maybe that subject just isn't your thing, and that's okay. Everything I've mentioned up to this point makes school sound like a priority above all. In reality, life is all about balance. While it is important to get enough sleep, have flawless attendance, always stay on top of homework, and be mindful of how many hours you're working, you only get your teen years once. Don't waste them striving for a perfection that cannot be reached. Albert Einstein once said, "Everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." The most important thing I want you to take from this is to not let the world convince you that you are not good enough. As long as you're putting in effort, you are making progress, even if it does feel as though your efforts are as futile as poor Sisyphus is.